Today we'll continue with Zayin, but before we do that, let me try and explain a little bit more the ideas of Etzem and Giluyim, something which we spoke about a few times, or in a certain sense, that's really everything about the Maimer, and that's what we're going to continue now in this ice. Let's give a mashal. One of the analogies which is given in Chassidus to the difference between what's called Ashpa Pnimis and Ashpa Chitzonis. There's two types of Ashpa, there's two types of giving. One is Ashpa Chitzonis, an outer giving, and another is Ashpa Pnimis, an inner giving. The truth is the difference between Giluyim and Etzem, as we've learned up until now, is that Giluyim is all called Chitzonius. It's the outside. Etzem is giving over the very essence that's an inner thing. Now let's look at the mashal that Chassidus gives, the example. Ashpa Chitzonius is the idea of a teacher teaching his student. When the teacher teaches the student, two things. The teacher is only teaching the student what he knows. The teacher can't teach the student something that he doesn't know. That's number one. Number two, the teacher can't give the student more than what he has. And therefore, even if the student understands things, uses the knowledge he got from the teacher to understand something further, but that's not something he got from the teacher. What he got from the teacher is only what the teacher has, and therefore that's the concept of the student will always be less than the teacher. The student will always know less than the teacher. He can learn more, but when he's learning more, he's understanding more that he's doing on his own. He's using that to go further. That's called Ashpa Chitzonis. Ashpa Pnimis is, for example, the Ashpa of a father and a child. Ashpa meaning the fact that the father makes the child, it causes the birth of the child. What the father gave over is not that he taught. It's not something that comes from the mind, it's not the intellect, it's his very essence, it's part of him. And therefore when the child is born, there's no limit, there's nothing saying that the child has to be only whatever the father is. On the contrary, the child can be born much wiser, much smarter, etc. than the father. Because it's not something which is the outer hashpa, it's something which is the very essence. And the same thing is with the idea of Giluyim. Giluyim means revealing godliness. It's not only that it's less. It's not only the fact that it's less. It's a totally different type of idea. All the spheres from Chesed through Yesod are all shining, revealing, giving something that's there in godliness in a way of a shine. It's revealing something that's there already. It's like teaching knowledge. You're taking the knowledge that you have and you're giving it over to someone else. You're not giving something. You're not giving an existence. You're teaching something that's there. Hashpa atzmis, etzem, is creating something new. Yesh me'ayin, something from nothing. Creating something new means to create a new existence by giving the very essence of what is there. And when the essence is given over, it's not something which is limited. There's no limits to it because it's the very essence. And it's in the same way when we're talking about Ikir Shechina Batachtoinim, Shechina is all revealing. When I'm connecting to godliness, to spirituality, regardless of how high this connection is, it's revealing spirituality. Whereas with Malchus, that's the idea of the difference between a king and, for example, a father in this sense. that a father has a child, the child is connected to the father. A king is the king over a nation. The nation is a separate entity. And in this sense, what we're saying when we call it Malchus, meaning kingship, is that it's a new entity. This physical world is not spiritual. It's something else. It's a new existence. This is the existence that Hashem's very essence wants. This is the existence in which we can reveal Hashem's essence. Any other existence is just revealing. It's nothing new. Hashem wanted to create a new existence, an existence of a world, and in here it's where His very essence is revealed. I hope this was a little bit understood. Maybe we can get back to more of that, another example for it, another time. Let's go on now into what the Rebbe now continues based on that. And the Rebbe says that when we do iskafia and isafcha, which means we subdue the shell that covers over the reality of godliness, we transform the physical world into the reality of what it really is. And that's more than through a spiritual connection, but rather through shtuz d'gdusha. It's not an intellectual thing. It doesn't make sense. There's no feeling. There's no gratification. It's going beyond anything that makes sense. It's the essence. This is what Hashem wants. When we do this, then we cause that there should be a dira b'tachtonim. We cause that Hashem's very essence, as we said earlier, should be revealed down here in the physical world, specifically in this new entity, to reveal the very essence of what it's all about. Now we continue more than this. What happened? How did Hashem make a world through Tzimtzum? The whole purpose of Tzimtzum, removing the light, was not for the spiritual worlds, but rather for the physical world down here. When we subdue and transform, we reveal godliness in here, we're revealing the essence. It's just like when someone knocks down a building. He doesn't knock down the building in order to build the same type of building. When he knocks down a building, it's because he wants to build a nicer building. When Hashem took away the spiritual light that was here before the beginning of creation, it wasn't so we can bring back this light. It wasn't so we can bring the light which is above the world. It was for a new light, in order to bring the very essence of Hashem, something that never was here before. That's what we're doing through it. And that's why through our Avodah, we're not just bringing back, even though in the beginning we learned about Basi Legani, Hashem says, I came back. But by coming back, that's what we're connecting to, that we're bringing it back. But as a result of bringing it back, we're connecting to the very depth of the essence of what Hashem wants in the world. And now we explain the very interesting thing. That's why it's called Istalik Yikra du Kuchabrichu B'chulu Almin. The glory of Hashem is Nistalik. It's removed in all of the world. What do you mean removed? It's revealed. It's brought out. The word Istalik we used actually in the very beginning when we said Nistalko Shechina. The Shechina left. The Shechina left. It went away from this world. And then we say that through Iskafi and Isafcha, Istalik. What does that mean, Istalik? But according to everything that we've explained up until now in the Maimer, the word Istalik means, since what's coming now into the world is something which is beyond any type of revelation, the only word you can use to describe it is that it's leaving, meaning it's leaving, it's removed from being revealed. If we look, for example, in numbers, the connection between 1 and 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000, 1,000,000,000,000, whatever number you'll take, there's a connection, because no matter how many times 1,000,000 is 1,000,000 times 1, it's always still going to go back to that original 1. No matter how far you go, you're never going to a new entity. It's like the teacher and the student. But then you can talk about the difference between 0 and 1, or between 1,000,000,000 and infinity. There, it's two different entities. You've left the limit. Istalik means it leaves the limit. It's not just a higher light, a greatly higher light. It's an infinite difference because it's no longer connected, it's no longer in the same realm as it was before. That's also the meaning, and that's what the Rebbe explains here, is the meaning of istalkus. When a neshama leaves the body, what does it mean the neshama left the body? Does the neshama go somewhere else? According to the way Chassidus explains to us, Gan Eden is right here. Everything that we talk about is not a lower world, a higher world in space. In spiritual worlds, there's no space. Everything's here. But the here that we dealt with while the neshama was in the body was one where the neshama was being limited. It wasn't able to recognize the ultimate and reality of what it is and what it's doing and what its actions cause in the true spiritual sense. When it leaves the body, that's called histalkus, meaning it's still in the same place, but it's in the same place in a way where it's totally, infinitely higher and greater than it ever was. The difference is, in a regular person, when the neshama leaves the body, he's not really that connected with whatever was there before because he's now in a totally new place. Whereas with a tzaddik, even when the neshama leaves the body, his entire entity is fulfilling what Hashem wants, which is down here, and therefore he's still connected to whatever he did, just he's connected in an unlimited way now. And this is what the Rebbe says, that it says in Gemara, that Gdeila Silukon Shel Tzadikim, Kichurban Beis HaMikdash, or Yosem Churban Beis HaMikdash. What happened by the Churban Beis HaMikdash? Did Hashem leave the world? Nistalka Shechina. Istalik Yikud Gochabrichu. Did Hashem leave the world? No, until now it was limited. This is where you'll find Hashem. Now it came to a situation where you don't see Him in this place, and that's why for us it's considered a removal. But in truth, now Hashem is in a totally new, the essence of Hashem is revealed. It's not just the revelation in the Beis HaMikdash, it's now everywhere, and now we're able to reveal it everywhere. And this is also the idea that it says that through the Silukon Shel Tzadikim, it's the same as Para Aduma. What's Para Aduma? Para Aduma is called Zois Chukas HaTorah. It's a chukah, something that doesn't make sense. Why is Para Aduma something that doesn't make sense? Because when we are coming to purify the tumas meis, the tumah that has to do with a dead person meaning someone who's left life. He's gone to a place where he's beyond, he's on the other side. How can he connect? How can he reconnect? How can he be purified? It doesn't make sense. It's impossible to comprehend. We need shtus v'kedusha. We need to get to a place which doesn't make sense in order to take that essence, in order to take something which is physical, material, and even the opposite of kedusha, and transform it into kedusha. That's the only way to do it when it doesn't make sense. The Silukum Shel Tzadikim accomplishes the same thing. And that's why the Rebbe says, as a result of the Silukum Shel Tzadikim, now we're in the 7th generation, because there's now something that doesn't make sense, but the something that doesn't make sense brought us from the revelation, from connecting to Seichel, from the first 6 generations, and now we're in the 7th generation, which connects to the essence of the Shekhinah. And this is actually connected, in the Mitzvah Hashem after Shabbos, we'll continue further, it's connected to tonight, which is Chav Beis Shvat. Chav Beis Shvat, the Rebbe explained, was the idea of a siluk. It was a siluk of a Isha Tzidkanis, of the Rebbetzin, the Tzadekis, the Isha Tzidkanis of our generation. And the siluk was not to go away. It was in order to bring all the brachas physically in this world, and most importantly, to bring Mashiach, to bring the essence, to bring the gili of the etzem. That's why it happened. Not that's why that we understand. On the contrary, we can't understand how there could be such a great yerida as a neshama, such a holy neshama leaving the physical body. And the only understanding is that it's in order to bring one thing, which is the etzem. That's the reason, and that's the purpose of Istalkus, to bring Becha, Chav Beis, all the brachas, but most importantly, the Gula Mitzvah Shlema, the coming of Mashiach, the etzem down here in this world.